I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. So I claim that openness for all of us. I claim the ability and the desire and the readiness to receive all that is here right now in this moment. The whole shebang is here for us. All we need to do is to be open, to let our mind go to sleep, let it go in a corner and play its silly games, and let ourselves receive the perfection that is the one, that is the all, that is everything, that is us, that is the center for spiritual living, that is this gathering. So here we go. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive.
So welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. You know what we are? We are a spiritual family. We are together here because each one of us in our own way is learning to live our life from a deeper place. And we want to share that with ourselves, with each other, with everyone out there. And that's what we do. And we have classes and we have other new things that are showing up. And so I'm here to welcome myself and all of us to that consciousness. And we want you at home, if you're watching, to be part of that consciousness, whether you're physically here on 345 River Road in Princeton, or watching from home, or in the future watching the recording. So, things we have coming up. Susan and I were discussing this morning. We want to be the center of your spiritual living, right? And so there are going to be some new things showing up pretty soon. We'll make specific announcements. And you can watch our website, our beautiful website, cslprinceton.org. There'll be announcements for that. This is not a Sunday morning teaching, right? This is a teaching for our lives. Because we want more peace, because we want more love, and because we believe that that's possible, that that's present in the world. So that's what we're welcoming ourselves to. Today we have the great opportunity to listen to Reverend Karen Kushner, who's going to be talking about Metaphysical Myth number 2. And I have no idea which that is, but we're going to find out. Because last week's talk was about Metaphysical Myth number 1, which was really wonderful. A lot of good information and ways of supporting ourselves. The week after, next week, we have the great opportunity to listen to our practitioner, Regina Quince. Yay.
Yay.
She is going to be talking about being gratitude. Being gratitude, appreciation, and Thanksgiving. What an appropriate thing for Thanksgiving. Yeah, you know, these things go by and we have this holiday called Thanksgiving, and for a lot of us, it becomes about turkey and it becomes about cooking and it becomes all that stuff. But what's the spiritual basis for those of us who want to live with a spiritual consciousness? How do we do that? So I'm looking forward to hearing what Regina has to share with us. And then the week after that, on December 1st, I will be speaking on what is your spiritual center? What is your center for spiritual living? We're going to explore, it's going to be a bit of a workshop-like thing. We're going to explore for each one of us, what do we bring and what do we hope to find in our spiritual center? Not necessarily our physical spiritual center like this place, but what's the center from which we want to live, and from which we do live. And then the week after that, Regina will be back.
Gratitude part 2.
Gratitude part 2. So lots of gratitude going on during this period of Thanksgiving. And so welcome again. Thank you for being here. This is part of my spiritual family, and we really hope that you make it yours too.
Maybe we're all different, but we're still the same. We all got the blood of Eden running through our veins. I know sometimes it's hard for you to see. You're caught up between just who you are and who you want to be. If you feel alone and lost and need a friend, remember every new beginning is some beginning's end. Welcome to wherever you are. This is your life. You made it this far. I said welcome. You got to believe that right here, right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Welcome to wherever you are. When everybody's in and you're left out, you feel it drowning in the shadow of a doubt. Everyone's a miracle in their own way. Just listen to yourself, not what other people say. Everybody's different, just take a look around. Welcome to wherever you are. This is your life. You made it this far. I said welcome. You got to believe that right here, right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Be who you want to be. Be who you are. Everyone's a hero. Everyone's a star. You want to give your heart and your heart's to break. Remember that your perfect God makes no mistakes. Welcome to wherever you are. This is your life. You made it this far. I said welcome. You got to believe that right here, right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Welcome to wherever you are. This is your life. You made it this far. I said welcome to wherever you are. And now it's time for Practitioner. Susan.
Yay.
Am I doing something wrong?
No, I just love that song.
Yeah.
And I just thought, here we are, and we're in the perfect place where we're supposed to be, and there you are, and you're in the perfect place, and I just, well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Susan Niedt. I'm a practitioner here at the center, and I am grateful to be here today. I was away on vacation for quite some time, and that was a blessing, but it's always nice to come back home, although home is wherever you are. That's a Jason Mraz. So, today, we're going to read an affirmation aloud, and I'm going to lead us in a meditation. Ernest Holmes says in The Science of Mind, he states a lot of cool things. He says, get some degree of conviction and stay with it. And then he goes on to say, the cosmic mind is positive, certain of itself, and sure of the outcome. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we're going to read this affirmation that I handed out with conviction, and then I'm going to guide you in a meditation and end with an affirmative prayer, because in our teaching we have principles and practices, and these are our practices. They're our anchor, and they are also our elevator. So here we go. Let's read this together.
Nothing can stand in the way of my liberty. I realize that I am spiritually entitled to success, affluence, and joy. I am free in my life, my work,
my world and my body. I am free to experience God's love for me and to grow in God's consciousness. God within me, as me, is all powerful, all good, and all there is.
Let's just read that last sentence again. I am free
To experience God's love for me
and
to grow in God's consciousness. God within me, as me, is all powerful, all good,
and all there is. So with that, steadfastly in our minds, let's close our eyes if that's available to us, and just take a lovely deep breath. A breath that is that life, that one life that is God. It's expressing itself in, as, and through each one. So let's just breathe together that light, that life. And know that we have the faith in our own affirmations. We steadfastly stand in the truth. We hold on to our conviction, unwaveringly, firm in our acceptance and realization of the one breath, the one life. So as we breathe with confidence, with assurance, knowing that God is, that Spirit is the sustenance of all, the expression of all, the substance of all form. And it is expressing for our good and our greater good. We breathe the life. We breathe the light. And we sit in blessed assurance. Our words are not spoken in vain because they are truth. So as we sit here with this beautiful breath of life, I'll speak these words for each one here, knowing that this is the one life. It is the life that is expressing in perfect, whole ways. It is a divine pattern of perfection. And it is each one. And so this one life that is joy is each one's joy. And this one life that is peace is each one's peace. And this one life that is this loving presence is the love that each one here expresses here and now. Because each one is in realization of their oneness with this love, with this light. And each one is feeling the blessing of the presence of that breath of life. That is the elevation, the uplifting, that place of the Most High. And it is joy. So each one here knows it is the birthright to experience that joy. And stand in that conviction that yes, there is only one life, and that life is God, and that life is good, and each one moves from good to greater good to the greatest good of all. And each one is in the perfect place right here, right now. And that is the life, that is love, that is God expressed. So with joy and gratitude, knowing this is the truth, I release these words and we all say together, and so it is. Namaste.
You can play the game, you can act out the part, though you know wasn't written for you. Tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed and playing the fool? One thing can lead to another, it doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother, sister and brother, it feels nice, don't you? Just shower the people you love with love. I say, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is why you know. And what you plan to do with your foolish pride, all by yourself alone. Won't you tell somebody the way that you feel? You feel it beginning to lose. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel, always getting confused. Better to shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be up fine if you only will. Do as I say, I said, shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Okay, now it's time for the lesson, the talk, the impartation of wisdom. And here to bring it to us is the one and the only Dr. Reverend Karen Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. So I have a little series I call Metaphysical Myths, and this is number 2. And last week was number 1, and I forget what that myth was. Does anyone remember what that myth was?
The myth of following your passion.
Right. So it was don't follow your passion, right? Follow your inner guidance, right? One of the thoughts that I had that I wanted to say last week, but I forgot, but I think is important to say now is this particular series is getting greater clarity of some of the principles of spiritual truth. And it's the kind of crystal clarity and subtle differences that you get when you're in classes. So coming on Sundays, no matter how great the speaker is or how brilliant the lessons are, in my personal experience, it's in classes where you can ask those questions that you can get clear of what spiritual truths really mean to you, and where you can get answers as to why is not following my passion working for me, or why is my affirmations not working for me. It's only when you're in classes that you can ask those questions and understand the deeper meaning of these spiritual truths, rather than going along with what our current world has popularized. And the Science of Mind teaching has been popularized. You can see it on the billboard of just about any place of worship. The title, I'm like, oh, I can talk on that. That's our teaching. That's our teaching. And but it's also been popularized by people who have read some of our teachings or taught some of it and grabbed onto the mantra or the slogan without a deeper understanding of what it really means. And there is now, or I'm noticing now, a number of books or podcasts coming out by people who are saying why the secret doesn't really work, or why you can't really follow your passion, or why affirmations don't work. And as I listen to them, what I don't hear, I mean, maybe it's there if I listened longer, but I don't hear them understanding that behind every spiritual principle is a presence, is a power, is something greater than we are. And without that recognition, you don't have much to go by. So following your passion without an understanding of where that passion comes from or today's talk, which is go with the flow. Have you heard that? Go with the flow. Going with the flow without any sort of understanding as to what river you're in is going to lead you into more trouble. Because there's greater clarity that you need, not because you made a mistake, but because there's something deeper you didn't understand. And so only in a direct interaction with some sort of teacher, spiritual mentor, practitioner, someone who can answer your own specific questions, can you really get at the deeper meaning behind these things and be able to have a more productive and effective and happier experience with spiritual principles. And so that's why in this particular community, spiritual practice is so important. As Susan mentioned, it's important because we're practicing to believe and to act as if we believe in a higher power, God, something greater than we are, that the Father within doeth the work, and that our increasing connection and identification with that greater something is what makes all the little tools that we have work. So yes, when you first hear about positive affirmations, you can be like Scott, I forget his last name, who does the Dilbert cartoons. He wrote it down 100 times a day. I am a national cartoonist. He really got a lot of power out of just affirmations. When we begin, that's the divine leading us along the way. And we might not realize it's the divine leading us. We may think it's mental willpower. We may think it's mental brainwashing. And that is what we rely upon. And at the beginning, it works. But when we've outgrown that, when we've bit the fish hook that the divine, it demands that we understand why it worked. And the reason why it worked is there is a loving presence that is guiding, guarding, and directing us every step of the way. And that first commandment is spiritual truth. I am the Lord thy God. And you shall not have any other gods before me. Even your own mental willpower, even your own ego, sense of self, even your own partner or company or money. Those are all placing something above the creator of all. And the divine God is a jealous God, which means, not like that scary God gonna get you, but that the only way it works is to recognize you are more than you think you are. You are not a human struggling along. You are a divine creation expressing through this human form. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
So go with the flow. I just think it's so funny. Flow, right, go with the flow, go with the flow, go with the flow. I hear it all over the place. People who don't believe in God say, I decided to go with the flow. What we want to get clear about is what flow. Because as with all of these great sayings, we can use them with the belief, I am a victim, and we can use them with the belief, I am the loving presence expressing as me. That's what we always need to be clear about. So any type of spiritual truth that's gotten out there in the world that has beneath it a sense of victimhood is a lie and will ultimately fail. And the answer is, as you turn to why this is true, then everything works. And you find that particular saying the absolute truth. So I pulled out Eric Butterworth. He was a big-time minister in Unity, and he has praising for this thing. This particular book is called In the Flow of Life. And there are many, many sentences where he says, you got to get into the flow. You got to get into the flow. So if you just take it out of context, Eric Butterworth said, he's a spiritual teacher. He says, get into the flow. But if you read the rest of the book, he says, the practice of the presence of God is an insight. The presence of God is the activity of God that is present in you and as you. That is everywhere. So what he really wants us to do when he says get into the flow is to realize that that loving presence flows through us. It's not that life, the loving presence is flowing out here and I need to jump into it and go along. No, it's flowing through us, in us, as us. Last week I talked about the spiritual qualities. Love, light, life. And I said, let's include passion as one of these spiritual qualities. That these qualities are present in the essence, in that divine creator flowing through us for us to express. So we want to get clear if we're believing, oh, my passion is being an actress, and all I have to do is be an actress, and then I'll be in the flow of life and everything will unfold. Or, no, we are passion, we are love, we are life, and this is how I'm expressing it. And so what we want to do is to become more of an outflow of the divine inflow. That's what our spiritual practices are for. And the clearer that we are of that, the source, the creator, and the essence of all that we are, of the consciousness that is expressing through us, the more that we're clear about that, then the bigger an outflow we can be of it. And that's how we experience growth. So whenever we're struggling, whenever we have troubles, the answer is not to just get into that flow over here. The answer is to go back to the source of that which flows, life itself, and realize that what you need to do is to begin recognizing that everything comes from that one cause of all, and including you, and that you are merely flowing, allowing that flow to express in your world. I want peace, I want to be peace, I got to get peace. The peace is within, so they say, right? You've heard that. When you connect with the spiritual truth of that one source being infinite, eternal, harmony, all good, as you get clear about that, then you become a greater outflower of peace that came from inside of you. And it was always there, right? Right, you could at any time just do that. All right, so let's just do that. Just take a moment and dwell upon the peace of life itself within you, and that place within yourself where you might even sense all is well. You might not like it, you might not believe it, but something in you is going, oh, it's okay. And just allow yourself to appreciate, I'm alive. I have potential. And I can express. And allow yourself to notice in your own self whether you're feeling more and more peace. Maybe in your body, I am. Maybe in your mind, maybe in your heart, maybe in your soul. But that, we didn't make that piece up. I didn't have it and throw it at you. I connected with a piece that I felt in me. It's always there. But, sometimes I'm busy. And I don't connect with it. And I might not be expressing much of it. So that's what the teaching of the science of mind is really about, right? We say science of mind, the one mind, the infinite mind. And that's the mind I'm using. I'm not using my own separate mind and my brain, which has issues, because I drank too much in the 60s or whatever. That's not the mind we're using. We're using this one infinite mind, which is always having a stream of ideas that are taking form in this universe in manifestation. And I am a part of it. And being made in the image and likeness of that one creator means that its flow is our flow, and we create in our particular worlds of that substance as the divine is creating the whole universe. Where the next chain, you can think of let's think of our ancestors of teaching. So there was Dr. Ernest Holmes, but he stood on the shoulders of what had gone before. And Emerson and Trower were two of the spiritual teachers that he drew upon. And he said, I'm not saying anything new. I'm just synthesizing the greatest truths that exist in every religion. And I just packaged it in a new way. And he took the teaching of Christian Science, Mary Baker Eddy, Emma Curtis Hopkins, who went back to Phineas Parkhurst Quimby and brought forth the technique of spiritual mind treatment. That was it. That's what he did. But he started this and taught many people, one of them being Raymond Charles Barker. So Ernest Holmes, who was a new point of flowing. Well, let's go back to Emma Curtis Hopkins. Phineas Parkhurst Quimby gathered information from work that was done by Anton Mesmer in Europe about healing and hypnosis, mesmerism, right? And he started applying it in New England. Mary Baker Eddy was the recipient of his work, and she created Christian Science with her own twist on it. And if left alone, then no one, well, life has its way, but the way that Mary Baker Eddy taught it would have been difficult for us to use. So one of her students, who was the first editor of her magazine, was Emma Curtis Hopkins. And Emma was guided to go beyond Mary Baker Eddy and to go to those who taught before Mary Baker Eddy. And so it was Emma Curtis Hopkins who went to Phineas Parkhurst Quimby's work and brought his technique. And that's what has become spiritual mind treatment. So my point is, the spiritual truth was flowing in a bizarre way as Anton Mesmer, because he was a showman and he had eyes that kind of rolled around each way. But his method worked. To Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, who normalized it, did it in a way, he called it a talking healing. That's all he did, is he talked to people about their truth, and boom, they got healed. And then Mary Baker Eddy was the next outflow of this spiritual truth, who taught Eric Butterworth, right? And he taught Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes taught Raymond Charles Barker, and Raymond Charles Barker taught Dr. Stuart Grayson, and Dr. Stuart Grayson taught me, and I taught you. And now you are teaching. Your flow, the inflow of the divine through you with what you have learned, but you're adding your own experiences, your own personal direct experiences of communing with the divine. And you are now outflowing all that you have learned. So to go with the flow is to recognize the source of the flow, so that we are not a victim of whatever river we fell into. Right?
Piranha.
By what?
Piranha.
Piranha, exactly. Crocodiles. Oh, you don't want to mess with a crocodile. So, and so the experience that we have of our awareness of the source of this flow and dictates our experience of the flow. And when Eric Butterworth tells us, and when I tell us to get into the flow, what we want you to get is go back to your relationship, your personal relationship with the divine, and improve the relationship. Improve your relationship with the divine. Make it better. The divine is not going to change. So the only way you improve the relationship with the divine is you change. And the way that we change is getting clearer. Superficial aphorisms, superficial, statements of truth make me crazy, but that's my issue I need healing on. Because it misses the point. And the point of it all is God. Right? The point no point exists, right? You can't, because as soon as you see a point, it's already got length and width. It already, so the actual center of everything is infinite and it is all, and you can't measure it. That's the point. And so as we connect with that which is infinite, that which is eternal, that which is the good, the beautiful, the true, and as we express our awareness of this, our experience of this, our definition of this, our understanding of this, it's okay then what we don't know about it. What we're doing is actually truly being authentic to what we know of our relationship with the divine. And we stand on that conviction. That's why beginner's luck, it's not beginner's luck. Beginners get it all because they learn to stand on the truth of some teeny weeny little spiritual truth. But even though they only get, say, a little bit of it, and we all have been there, right? We've all been there. Even though you only get this little much of it, even if you say, all right, there's a whole lot I don't believe that they're talking about, but I do believe this one little thing. If you stand on that, that mountain will move. It's enough. And we've had that experience, and if you haven't, oh my God, you will. You got it. It's too great and glorious. And as soon as you have it, you've outgrown it, and you get to have another one. So let's all pat ourselves on the back for all that we have grown. I like that song, right, that you sang that. It brought us to where we are now, right? We're here where we are. Welcome to where we are, right? Well, we got here. Welcome to it. And at this moment, you are a fresh, new starting point of creation for all the greater good that is to come. And it will be greater good if we go back and go to that relationship with the divine and expand it, improve it, believe in it a little bit more. And the way we do that, an easy way to do it is to be in classes and you're listening to the teacher for months, years, whatever, and you finally raise your hand and you say, what do you mean by wholeness? It'll put the teacher into a tizzy. What do you mean by wholeness? What do you mean by wholeness? You have to find your own answer. But when you ask the question, that means you're open to hearing a better definition of wholeness. I love Dr. Kennedy Schultz's saying, if you're going to put God first, in your life, believe in a God that you want to put first. You're expanding your definition of God. When I first came to this teaching, I could not use the word God because I was brought up in a particular religious tradition which had a teeny weeny little definition of God. And I couldn't get behind it anymore. It upset me too much. But I came into this teaching, I had a mystical experience, and my first new name of something bigger and greater than I am and that I'm a part of was energy. I am energy. That was my first new word for that which 30 years later I began able to call God again. But infinite love, infinite intelligence, there is one mind, one presence. All these words are evidence of an expanding relationship of the divine. And so you want to add more of your idea of what this is. A teeny weeny little example. Let me see, where am I here? Because I'll talk up the moon. All right, strength. Physical strength, right? Physical strength. You want to be stronger. You exercise your muscle. It gets stronger. Where did the strength come from? It did come from the weight that or my fist that I'm lifting up right now. Where does it come from? From practice, but where did it come? What did it get created from?
The energy of the universe.
The energy of the universe?
Out of nothing.
The divine pattern of
Out of
perfection.
nothing, which is everything. What did you say?
The divine pattern of perfection.
The divine pattern of perfection. It came from somehow within you,
Yeah.
Or all around you, or you got into the flow of the strength that was always there, and it showed up in your bicep or wherever you focused on. But I focused it on here, so I have a stronger bicep, right? I'm a rower, so I have a stronger. Well, actually, it's mostly legs that are stronger and a stronger back. Okay, so that. But what about a stronger earlobe? Why don't I have a stronger earlobe? Well, I'm not doing anything to make it stronger. It's like good enough. It's holding my little earrings right now. But so what we want to realize is that the strength, what that is everywhere. And I just focused it on a certain part of my body. But it's everywhere. And we can call on it everywhere. And we do have that, right? I don't know how you were raised, but every once in a while I would hear my mother say, God, give me strength, when she was having to deal with we children, right? So that quality of strength exists, but we have to activate it. In other words, the quality of life, of love, of passion, of strength, of peace, all exists in us everywhere as potential. Somewhere in the muscle was a potential for demonstrating greater strength. And I activated it by identifying it, participating in it, by deciding to have that potential outflow into my very earthly body. And so that's just a great example of all the qualities of the divine, that they all exist as potential within us everywhere. In us, in our entire world, in every relationship, in our finances, everywhere. And it requires us to be, when we are in the flow, we are the flower of all that potential. And so living, one of his chapters is living from the, I'm saying living, He's saying living life from within out. We're coming from that infinite no point within. And from that seeming invisible substance, all that we are and all that we express is. So I am here because something wants to emerge all of its qualities as me in a particular way, which is infinitely variable. And we have choice how to express this infinite potential. We have infinite intelligence. It's my choice how to express it. We have some brilliant people in the room. You know who you are. And you know what you're brilliant in. You know your brilliant topics. You know why you're brilliant at it. Because you're focused on it. Because you're interested in it. Because you pay attention to it. Because you think about it. You brought that potential of intelligence forward in a particular way. And now you're in the flow of it. You're expressing it. And that which brought you this far is the only thing that's going to bring you the rest of the way. Because it was always that which brought you this far. It's going to bring you the rest of the way. But we get to determine this flow of substance itself into producing. Think of it as a production factory that we are. We are a production factory, taking this fabric of infinite substance and churning out cloth after cloth after cloth according to a design that we're given, a pattern that we're given. And when we are aware of all that, we understand how important it is to recognize where the fabric is coming from and how important it is for us to pay attention to how we are choosing to use the divine design and what it is that we're choosing to produce. But whatever we produce, it's all from that same infinite substance, and we discover when we've got all our ducks in order, when we've got cause and effect all in order in us, we discover by experience how easy it is to go with the flow. I'm a flower, a flower. That's the meaning, right? A flower, right? A flower. Where does that come from? A seed? And it became this, and it's this flower. It's a flower of life itself, of beauty itself, of harmony itself, of whatever it is itself. And so are we. But that flower does not forget its source, and we have the gift of being able to ignore that source or not. But when we recognize it, it flows easier in us. When we don't recognize it, it says, I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. So let's put you in this little eddy here of this stream, and you'll just spin around there until you figure it out. Or let me put this boulder in front of you. Just figure out how to paddle around that one. Right? Right. That's what it's about. So, are we clear about that little thing? So when you're going to hear people all over the place now go, I just decided to go with the flow. And you get to say, yeah, and what river are you in? Freak them out. Okay, so we're moving forward. Reverend Rich, who's in the flow of spiritual music, messages from the divine, will take us forward, and then I'll come back and we'll have a collection. Oh, we have a collection now.
We have a collection.
And then I'll come back later to do a treatment for us to recognize the flow that we're in, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yes. Watch those crocodiles.
Speaking of a treatment, we have a wealth treatment by Raymond Charles Barker. I'm going to read it.
Susan, it would be louder would be better.
Am I not loud enough? No. Am I good? Can you hear me? Yes. Yes. So here we go. let us enter into this gratitude offering in joy, because we are dealing with a principle of eternal abundance. This universe is never poor. The universe never runs out of leaves for trees. It never runs out of weeds for gardens. It never runs out of flowers, right? The universe is always abundant, always rich, always productive. Therefore, I, as a part of the eternal system, a part of the eternal process, of the eternal mechanism, I am that abundance. I am that abundance. And so it is with gratitude that we have an opportunity now. We can donate in gratitude, be part of the law of circulation to our lovely spiritual center. We also have the opportunity to give a blessing to the center. You might have seen it. If you're new here, we can put our hand over the plate and just send love and light and a blessing to the center. If you are not here, you can donate on our website, cslprinceton.org. So thank you in advance for your love and your generosity. So, in joy and gratitude, these gifts are accepted, knowing that the Center for Spiritual Living Princeton is guided, guarded, and protected, and completely financially supported in all of its activities.
Yes.
And so it is.
So it is.
All right, so take a moment, close your eyes if it works for you, and some preparation from Dr. Eric Butterworth. Take a breath and relax. With every exhale, allow yourself to feel more and more secure, more and more safe, guided, guarded, protected. Let your mind and heart release all that disturbs you. Let your body be still, and all the frettings of your body and all that surrounds it. Let the earth and sea and air be still, and heaven itself. And then think of spirit as streaming, pouring, rushing, and shining into you, through you, and out from you in all directions while you sit quietly. think to yourself, I am in the flow of eternal life, and I move easily with this flow. I am radiantly and enthusiastically alive. I am free from tension, stress, and strain, and I go forward as the flower of life, unhurried and unworried. And this word spoken for each one declares that this life itself is present, right where each one is, and is recognized by each one as the source, the sustainer and the maintainer of him or her expressing this life. And that all that each one has and is and has to give and will give all comes from this infinite eternal source of all good. And each one being aware of it in a greater way than ever before expresses that which it is. Its life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, harmony, its joy, and its passion in a greater way than ever before, and delights in noticing how much easier expressing and experiencing this great and glorious life is. And each one enjoys the fruits of that which is planted. And that which is planted is that recognition of God as the source of all that is and ever shall be. This is the truth, and I am grateful that this is the truth. And so I release this word to the loving law, who makes it so. And so it is made. And so it is.
And so it is.
I said, Amen. Did I